Before we begin this simple flying video, I'd love to share that it was made possible by our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. The rise and fall of Pan Am. Last month marked 93 years since Pan American World Airways was first founded. The airline would go on to shake up the global aviation industry, leaving a legacy that's still talked about today. However, despite being a cultural icon for most of the 20th century, the carrier's life was eventually cut short before it could celebrate its 65th birthday. Pan Am's story began on March 14, 1927, when it was founded by US Air Corps Majors Henry H. Hap Arnold, Carl A. Sparts, and John Jewett. The three men were looking to provide a counterbalance to Skapta, a German-owned Colombian outfit which went on to become part of Aviation. Before taking people to the skies, Pan Am operated mail services. The Chicago Tribune reports that the first of these flights started on October 28, 1927, with a scheduled operation between Key West and Havana. According to the New York Times, this was the first ever scheduled flight performed by a United States-based airline. The Fokker F-7 crossed the Straits of Florida to land in the Cuban capital. These progressive beginnings quickly gave the firm the confidence to venture into passenger services. Therefore, on January 16, 1928, the operator served its first flight to Cuba with paying passengers. By the end of the month, 71 customers paid around $50, $2,500 today, for the privilege to be flown 90 miles away. Even though the three Army officers founded the airline, it was the leadership of entrepreneur Jean Trippe that helped transform it into an aviation powerhouse. Then known as Aviation Corporation of the Americas, it combined with the Grace Shipping Company in 1928 to form Panagra, a shortening of Pan American Grace Airways. Over the next few years, the outfit flew across Latin America with its fleet of seaplanes, which were useful at a time when runways weren't so prominent. Business Insider highlights that because the pilots were operating planes that took off on water, they wore sea captain uniforms. At the turn of the 1930s, a secret deal gave Pan Am 84.4% of Skapta's capital. This move effectively made it the Colombian arm of the US airline services. Pan Am's expansion across the Americas was supported by Herbert Hoover, the President of the United States at that time. He became concerned about Germany's foothold in South America, so his administration helped to subsidize the airline's expenses. Pan Am soon diverted its attention to Europe. On March 30, 1939, a Boeing 314 was piloted by Harold E. Gray to perform its first ever transatlantic passenger flight. The plane left Baltimore for the Horta in Azores before performing a second leg to Lisbon. After World War II, Pan Am took advantage of new technologies that had emerged, such as the jet engine. It officially changed its name to the familiar title of Pan American World Airways in 1950. In October 1955, Trippe ordered 45 jetliners to venture across the Atlantic. These planes included 20 Boeing 707s and 25 Douglas DC-8s. A New York-London route operated by a 707 began on October 26, 1958. This service saw a record of 111 passengers on the flight. This was the highest number of passengers ever to travel on a single regularly scheduled service.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Apologies for the interruption, folks, but we have an important message from the flight deck for those looking to escape to a world of action and adventure.
Raid Shadow Legends is one of the most popular mobile turn-based RPG games out there, with hundreds of heroes to collect and customize. Speaking of heroes, let's open a few of our hero shards and see what we get. Love this animation. This is great. There we go. So we've got a nice armored gladiator. Let's try another one. What do we got here? Nice. We've got a barbarian, a war maiden. War maiden, nice. Now let's try another one. What's this? Oh, nice. An orc. Yeah, this is a great one. I'll add this one to my collection. Nice. If you start playing and check in daily, you can get awesome rewards like shards, gems, even a free barbarian legendary champion, Syl of the Drake. Even better, the daily login rewards program for new players has been doubled from 90 to 180 days. If you're excited to get travelling to this amazing world, Simple Flying has a special travel package just for you. If you use the link in the description, you'll get 100,000 silver, 2 clan boss keys, 10 mystery shards, and a free awesome champion, the Executioner. This is a one-time package. It'll only be available for the next 30 days, and you just need to go to your chest when you install the game.
Thank you for listening, good luck, and I'll see you there. Now, back to the main video.
The growth of Pan Am also saw the birth of other revolutionary national icons. The increase in demand for longer distance operations during the 1960s meant that larger aircraft were needed. Trip initially planned for a double-deck version of the single-aisle 707. However, Boeing managed to swing the direction of the design to give birth to the first ever wide-body in the form of the legendary 747. With Pan Am's vision and the Queen of the Sky's abilities, their partnership was a match made in heaven. Over 300 passengers can now fly on one service, lowering operational costs and thus making it cheaper to fly for the general public. This gave way to a whole new generation of flyers, with new passenger segments flying for the first time. During the year that followed the Jumbo's launch, Pan Am served 11 million passengers to 86 different countries. This progress also sparked an overhaul for airports across the globe. In order to facilitate hundreds of travellers arriving and departing at a time, hubs upgraded their lounges, check-in counters and terminals in the succeeding decades. This prosperity eventually led to developments that would turn out to be critical for Pan Am. Several firms wanted to get a slice of the aviation market success. However, existing laws made it hard for new companies to break into the industry. President Jimmy Carter tackled this issue by introducing the Airline Deregulation Act in 1978. This removed federal control over many aspects of the market. Therefore, Pan Am found it hard to keep up with its new rivals. Rising fuel costs also placed further financial burdens on the firm, forcing it into a downward spiral during the 1980s. The 1988 Lockerbie disaster was the final straw for the airline. Not only was it a PR disaster, but it gave way to a $300 million lawsuit, along with an additional fine for 19 security failings. Subsequently, Pan Am filed for bankruptcy protection in January 1991. Despite revival attempts, the airline was shut down once and for all on December 4th, with around 7,500 employees instantly losing their jobs. Even though Pan Am's story didn't last as long as the likes of KLM or even its counterpart Avianca, it wrote its own colourful tale for over 6 decades. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the Simple Flying channel and be sure to click the notification bell.